Microsoft and Apple have an interesting history that goes back to the early days of personal computing. At times, Microsoft and Apple have fought like parents at a little league game, squabbling over who copied whose technology. On other occasions, usually behind the scenes, they've worked together on technology projects with mutual benefits. But these days, there are signs that Microsoft and Apple are working closely to take on their mutual enemy, Google. Here's a look at the twists and turns of this love and hate relationship.
One, two, three, go. Hello there. My name is Steve Jobs. I am one of the founders of the Apple Incorporated. Apple Computer Incorporated is a multinational corporation that creates consumer electronics, personal computers, computer software, and commercial services, and is a digital distributor of media content. Apple's core product lines are the iPhone smartphone, iPad tablet computer, iPad portable media players, and Macintosh computer line. Do you own any Apple product? Are you wondering how and when this product started? I'm sure you are. That is why I am here to tell you the story of how Apple started. In 1976, I and a guy named Steve Wozniak began our partnership. Steve Wozniak is a close friend of mine, a talented, self-educated electronics engineer who constructed boxes which enable one to make long-distance phone calls to no cost, and sold several hundred models. After some time, aside from just supporting Wozniak with his inventions, I managed to interest him in assembling a computer machine and to sell it. I approached a local computer store, the Byte Shop, who said they would be interested in the machine, but only if it came full assembled. The owner, Paul Terrell, went further, saying that he would order 50 of the machines and pay us $500 on each delivery. Then I took the purchase order that was given from the Byte Shop to Kramer Electronics, a national electronic parts distributor, and ordered the components needed to assemble the Apple I computer. The local credit manager asked me how should I going to pay for the parts, and I so replied, I have this purchase order from the Byte Shop chain of computer store for 50 of my computers, and the payment terms are cash on delivery. If you give me the parts on a next 30-day terms, I can build and deliver the computers in the time frame, collect my money from Terrell at the Byte Shop, and pay you. After explaining to the credit manager, he called Paul Terrell, who was attending a computer conference at Asilomar in Pacific Grove, and verified the validity of the purchase order. He was so amazed at my tenacity, so Terrell assured the credit manager that if the computer showed up in his stores, I would be paid and would have more than enough money to pay for the parts ordered. I, Wozniak, and our friends spent day and night building and testing the computers and delivered them to Terrell on time to pay his suppliers and have a tidy profit left over for our celebration and next order. The machine had only a few notable features. One was use of a TV as a display system, whereas many machines had no display at all. This was no like the display of later machines. However, text was displayed at 60 characters per second. However, this is still faster than teleprinters used on contemporary machines of that era. The Apple I also included Bootstrap code on ROM, which made it easier to start up. Finally, at the insistence of Paul Terrell, Wozniak also designed a cassette interface for loading and saving programs at the then rapid pace of 1,200 bits. Although the machine was fairly simple, it was nevertheless a masterpiece of design, using far fewer parts than anything in its class, and quickly earning Wozniak a reputation as a master designer. Joined by another friend, Roland Wayne, we started to build the machines, using a variety of methods, including borrowing space from friends and family, selling various prized items, and scrowing Jobs managed to secure the parts needed while Wozniak and Wayne assembled them. But the owner of Byte shop was expecting complete computers, not just printed circuit boards. The boards still being a product for the customers, Terrell still paid them. Then finally, in April 1, 1976, Apple I was created. Eventually, 200 of the Apple I's were built. But it does not end there. Apple began to increase development with the introduction of the Apple II. The Apple II includes color graphics and came into its own plastic casing, the first real computer to come pre-assembled, therefore making it more attractive to a larger group of consumers. After the introduction of the Apple II, the order of apples increased dramatically. During 1976, I began working on the Macintosh when Apple's Lucy project began to crumble. The Lucy project was originally my idea after visiting the Xerox PRRC research facility in Palo Alto. There, I saw and realized the potential of graphical user interface. I thought it was the best thing I'd ever seen in my life. Now I remember it was very flawed. What we saw was incomplete. They'd done a bunch of things wrong, but we didn't know that at the time. But still, I thought they had the gem of the idea, and they'd done it very well, and within, 10 minutes, it was obvious to me that all computers will work like this someday. So as Apple sales began to tumble, I started the Macintosh. The Macintosh idea was to be an inexpensive DOS PC that would be more user-friendly than the hard-to-use DOS applications used by IBM and their clones. Sales still were quite profitable the first year, but soon customers began to realize that the Mac had few applications, unlike DOS PCs with spreadsheets and databases to go along with Word documents. Another drawback was the inability to printers to print exactly what was on the screen. Mac users could make documents with great fonts, but when their documents were printed, they were in plain dot matrix. This time, Apple teamed up with an ex-Xerox employee, John Warnock, who had started his own company called Adobe. Adobe had figured out what no one else could: how to print what you see on your computer. With the Apple redeemed itself by introducing the first desktop publishing programs. With this development, Mac began to lead the industry overnight. By the 1990s,
The computer market had been saturated by so many personal computer clones, since Apple was the only one selling Macs. Because of their stingy patience, they began to fall behind. This was due to the development of Windows 3.0, which was able to run on almost every personal computer clone. Apple computers were not compatible with the Windows 3.0, thus making it very inconvenient for people to buy Apple computers. With so many PC clones using DOS software, developers like Microsoft were able to capitalize on the growing market and keep the consumers happy and wanting more. Apple, on the other hand, had fewer applications, as well as more older applications that were less appealing.